See, look at this shit. Somehow this is disqualifying. This is an insane way to talk about the Trump plus 13 state. Crockett is attempting to sacrifice the chances of a Democratic Senate majority on the altar of her own personal ambition. Let's read what she actually said, shall we? Because they put it in here. Crockett said for her to win, she could not count on Republicans crossing over to support her. She's correct. When we ended up with the Trump phenomenon, or even when we ended up with the Obama phenomenon, they were both able to bring out people that historically did not vote. I think that's the only way that we win in Texas is if we have a candidate that can add to the electorate. If the electorate remains the same electorate that we've had over the last 30 years, then I think we're going to end up with the same result. What's insane about that? Somebody please tell me what's insane about that analysis, because it seems rational. It seems reasonable. It seems like somebody who's actually been paying attention. But according to them, this is disqualifying. This is yet another account that does not want her to run for Senate. And it looks like this is a Michigan voter, so I don't even know why they care so much about Texas politics, but here we are. They care so much about Texas politics that they're actively online targeting a Democrat. Anyway, and so I'm trying to figure out, what did she say that was so terrible? And then I realized, oh, she said she could not count on Republicans crossing over to support her. This, the issue. They want to be in alignment with the GOP. They want part of that GOP voter base. They want that white male voter base back. This is the shit that I've been saying the entire fucking time. That is what they care about the most. There is nothing that she said here that is insane. But to them, for her to sit here and say that you can't count on Republican support, that's a bridge too far for them. That's disqualifying. That's her sacrificing the chances of a Democratic Senate majority. Funny part about this is, you say the state was plus 13 Trump. Apparently they haven't won a Senate seat since the 90s. What Senate majority is she sacrificing? Y'all act like any of these people actually have a shot to win this seat. And I hope somebody wins it, but at the end of the day, the odds are they're not going to win. But again, the narrative that they have about this woman is just absolute bullshit. They're just saying anything and everything to drag her down. There's no substance to it because they're not substantive people. There's nothing disqualifying about this statement. But to them, like I said, for her to acknowledge the fact that the Republicans are already an entrenched political party that are likely not going to cross over, her saying that to them is just, oh my God, why would she say that? It's the truth. This man annoys me. He says she wants to activate low propensity voters, which isn't wrong, but she's utterly devoid of leftist policy that could activate these people. Her pro-Israel stance is a non-starter. Where's the support for Medicare for all? Dumbass. Hassan Piker lives in fucking California, West Hollywood to be specific. What the fuck does he know about Texas? I don't live in Texas, but I know Texas is the land of all the Bushes, George, and Jeb. Texas is the land of Greg Abbott and Ted Cruz. What about Texas politics since the fucking 90s has indicated that most of them, specifically the ones who keep voting for these Republicans, give a flying fuck about Medicare for all? What about the way in which Texas votes in that deep red state indicates they give a fuck about Palestine and want to be anti-Israel? Tell me where. Because I'm just looking at the history of the state, a superficial history of the state, and I don't see it. Because all I see is a bunch of people who keep voting for Republicans who are famously anti all this shit. But you think that type of policy is going to win them over? And then you go through the fucking comment section. And I genuinely think this man, his only purpose is to activate a certain portion of the internet to target Democrats. Because that's all this butch-ass nigga does. He doesn't do anything of substance. And then I read these types of comments. A decade of losing to fascists has forced the Democratic Party to make important policy concessions. Now, instead of having old white men telling you to eat shit and die, they have young black women telling you to eat shit and die. Another person who doesn't understand anything about the old adage that politics is local. All politics is local at the end of the day. And I genuinely feel like a lot of them voted for Donald Trump because they felt like if they were to put a fascist in office, that it would effectively force certain groups of people, namely black people, Jewish people, primarily, force those groups to vote for their mediocre white male candidates, because this is effectively what the fuck they want. I think that's why a significant portion of Bernie's base shifted to Donald Trump. I think that was their thinking. They honestly think that that's a good strategy. A few people understand it though. Leftism, famously popular in Texas. Duh. To be fair, most people in Texas are pro-Israel. It's not gonna hurt her. Y'all are just not fair. They're not. Because they're not designed to be fair. They're just designed to target Democrats. They don't give a fuck about anything else. Talking about acting low propensity voters means nothing if your policies don't address their struggles. Again, what about deep red Texas makes you think they give a fuck about your weird ass progressive policies? And it's not that I necessarily disagree with them, but what the fuck makes you think about Texas that they give a fuck about those policies? How are y'all using this as a criticism of her when y'all don't even understand the fucking basics of the goddamn state you're talking about? And they're so, arrogant with it. What the fuck are you, are you serious? Turns out she is the co-sponsor of the Medicare for All resolution. At least according to this person. I haven't looked it up. Editing me, HR 3421, Medicare for All Act, co-sponsor. There she is, Crockett, Jasmine, Texas 30. Bitch. This person says find someone to run against her in a primary. They are so ignorant of the politics. They don't even know there's another person running in the primary against her. They don't even know she's the latest entry to the Senate campaign. Somebody else has already been in it. They don't even know. And they don't have to know. And they don't need to know because that's not their job. His job, Hassan, his entire job is to activate this portion of the progressive wing. I don't even know what the fuck to call these people anymore. I don't know what the fuck they are. I really just think they're anarchists at this point because they don't know much of anything and they're just talking out of their ass. A true progressive would be anti-Israel. Talking about she's anti-universal health care. You don't even know her stance on it. According to the previous post, she's a co-sponsor of the Medicare for All bill. So if y'all don't even know what her stance is, how are y'all running y'all mouths to target this woman to make it seem as if she's a bad candidate?